I am fully aware that this title sounds insane. Just let me explain myself. So why, if I'm already significantly visually impaired, limiting one of my 5 senses, would I voluntarily do the same for another? Well, honestly, a lot of it comes down to orientation and being able to concentrate enough on things to make the world make sense. So to give you a picture, I work in a room that's very echoey and very loud, and then you add anywhere from 8 to 25 very excitable second and third grade kiddos, and it just gets to be absolute chaos. They're coming in from after school, you know, they are fighting with each other, they are excited about whatever we're doing that day, or some combination thereof, and that's before we go downstairs to our also echoey cafeteria where we eat dinner with everybody else, and it is madness. To the point where a couple weeks ago, during a particularly rough day on the job, I had to pass the torch to another staff and just go take a break and sit up in our staff area because it was insane. I could not focus to the degree that I actually ran into a chair, which sounds really dumb, but what happened is my brain became so overloaded because of the constant auditory, just the screaming and fighting and all the going on, that I could not process the fact that even though visually I could sort of see a chair in front of me and I was using my cane, I was so overwhelmed that I tripped, and I knew at that point, I was like, okay, I'm like overwhelmed, this is too much. And so I went down this rabbit hole of what can I do? The first thing that I tried to do is talking to my place of employment about fixing our classroom in some way. So we ordered acoustic sound panels a while back, and I tried to get them put up with a very DIY job, which our maintenance department did not seem to like because I came back on a Monday after putting them up on a Friday and they were on the floor. So that needs some work, whether that's some red tape or whatever, I'm not quite sure. So that was strike one. The second issue in my classroom is that it doesn't have a ceiling. At one point, apparently it was made into a computer lab, and so they had to take out the ceiling tiles in order to put up fiber optic cables or something of that nature, and so it's a very high cavernous ceiling, and if we were to have ceiling tiles reinstalled, it might bring the echo level down. So I was hoping that either of those two things, whether it's the ceiling or the acoustic wall panels, would be able to be installed so that we could have a less echoey space in the first place, and that also didn't happen, so there's strike two. At this point, I'm hoping still that one of those two things might be able to happen at some point, but I'm not holding my breath. And instead, I've decided to take up the mantle and go running around the internet to figure out what to do. I came across all of these different kinds of earplugs. Now, the first set of earplugs that I went and picked up are a small box of probably 50 earplugs, and they're $1 or $2 at Walmart.
Here we go. They're kind of a long, skinty, and they're very soft. So the idea is, what you do is, I've got it between my two fingers here, and you roll it up into like a cylinder, kind of squish it, squeeze it, and it kind of gets skinty, and then you plug that into your ear, and then as I let go, it's going to expand. So it really blocks out a lot of sound, because what it's doing is it's expanding and closing up your ear canal around the shape of your ear, and then still blocking. So the problem I have in terms of working with kids with these guys is just that it's very effective, and it's too effective. It's too good at its job. Basically, it blocks everything out, makes you sound like everything's very underwater, and you get a lot of that occlusion effect, which is hearing your own voice inside your head. So if you've ever plugged your ears and then tried to talk, that's what that is. And for these in particular, not great for working with kids, better for really loud things. So if I was going to go to an auto race, fireworks, maybe a parade with the, the sirens and all that kind of stuff, at least for me personally as a blind guy, I'm kind of jumpy. So as long as I know I'm sedentary and where I need to be, I can wear these comfortably, usually for short periods of time, and then that's it. So that's the use case for these. Like I said, we'll do testing a little more extensively with the vibes and with the loops as well. But just wanted to give you a quick look at these here. Quiet, quick guys. Again, couple bucks at Walmart, and they might be good for you, they might not, but that's those guys, and we'll have more on the rest. Let's get back to the video.
and they're a dime a dozen, kind of meant to be throwaways, and I have used them in the past for attending fireworks shows. Because I do like fireworks with the limited amount of vision that I have, but I don't like the obnoxious concussive force that comes with them and the jump scare nature of fireworks. So I use them for fireworks. However, when it comes to your everyday environment, you need to be what I would call situationally and spatially aware of your surroundings at all times, especially with a visual impairment. And so what that looks like is I need to be able to hear not just the sound of a noise, but where it's coming from, who might be in need of help, especially because I work with kids, and be able to respond auditorily to what might be considered smaller cues from kids, such as tone of voice that I really need to be focused on. And so these earplugs are not meant for that. They're not really good for that. They're good for making things really, really quiet, and that's about it. So those were just my control because I've used them before. And now we move on to pair number 2, which are called the Vibes High-Fidelity Earplugs. I will throw some footage of those at this time. And these guys are a little bit different. I had some trouble trying to figure out how to switch the covers to make them smaller because evidently I have small ear canals. So that was a thing. And I'm going to take those to work with me today and hopefully get some testing in the quote-unquote real-world setting of work. And the third pair, which is on the way, is my most anticipated pair, which are called the Loop Engage 2 Plus earplugs. Now, Loop is a company that was on Shark Tank. Essentially, their sales pitch is that the occlusion effect, which is what happens when you put something in your ear holes, or if you just put one finger and close your ear, you can hear your own voice in your head. That's called the occlusion effect. It can be disorienting, especially when you still want to hear the world around you, to also hear yourself. Now, the occlusion effect is not going to be completely gone with the Engage 2 Plus earplugs, but the goal is that it's lessened. And also, Loop claims that they have engineered something that allows for the sound to be still discernible while kind of knocking out the background noise. And just at home with the Vibes, I've noticed that it's not like that. The occlusion effect is pretty strong and the sound is pretty muted. But we will see what happens at work today when I have the chance to test those, and the Loops should be here in another day or two, and I can start testing with those. I will upload a second part to this when I have some kind of testing and thoughts and kind of go through each. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the situation before I do all of that, to say that I'm going to test these both at work, and if you are interested, I might make a video where I test them around town in louder environments and see what they do for me in terms of like travel and being overwhelmed that way. But this is not something that is talked about very much on the internet. There is a lot of content for those who are neurodivergent, autistic, that sort of thing, in terms of sensory sensitivities and overstimulation. And I haven't really seen anything by anyone who's visually impaired about this, so I decided I would start assembling the necessary materials and spending a little bit of money out of pocket to get these things, test them, and see how that goes. So if you're interested in keeping up with this, please let me know in the comments. If you've used any of these before, please let me know. And with that being said, I will hopefully be back in a little while with some form of a part 2. And we'll make this a little bit of a series in investigating, and we'll go.
Vibes gets points for me off the bat. So this is the box that they came with. It's kind of a lidded container, and you've got the sizes of the tips that you can change out, which I've done because I apparently have small ears. And this box is fine, and it came with this little kind of pillbox case type thing. You kind of crack it open with a nail, maybe. Can I do it one-handed? No, probably not. There we go. And they fit inside, but it's like, this thing's gonna fall apart in 2 seconds. But what I didn't realize is they come with a case, and it's much better than that one. So here it is. I've got it on my finger at the moment. It's got the logo on it. It's a little like, it reminds me of a little flashlight, one of those little pocket flashlights, and it's got the key ring on it. and I'm not going to be able to do it with one hand, but you can unscrew there and get them out. But this will let me literally clip them to my keys, which I will do so that I can take these with me to work. I have, at this point, as of recording this section specifically, I have done 1 day's worth of testing with them at my job, and results were somewhat mixed. I'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah, I like the carrying case is the point that I wanted to make.
So thanks for checking us out. If you have any questions, comments, queries, theories, concerns, or anything else, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section down below, and we'll see you for more earplug testing down the road. Peace.